Oh, ominous words. Recording in progress, James. There's no going back now.
Welcome to the reboot of Dead Air, which, well, Dead Air, it's deader than dead, isn't it? So our new show that we provide to you is called, what the hell's it called again, Sean? Abstract Failure. That's it.
Fact failure. I don't know where you got
Abstract.
that from.
Uh, no, I,
Oh,
I,
me. You got
I,
it from me.
I don't
Sorry.
understand the reference either.
No,
Um,
it's a peculiar one.
the thing about
Peculiar.
Angela, well, so this is meant to be an election special podcast, which you are expertly placed to comment on, Sean. For you have neither seen the debates, nor have you nor have you kept up with any of the polls. So, what
No,
do you think about it, Sean?
I'm approaching this from the impartiality always born of ignorance. I'll explain. I'll explain my position there, James, in a reasonably serious way. I've not engaged with this election at all, not because it's a foregone conclusion, but for other reasons. First of all, even though I'm not with James Delingpole on everything, I do share with him and others like Richie Allen the view that the outcome of this election is possibly irrelevant. I don't agree with Hitchens. Peter Hitchens has argued recently that it's essential not to let Labour in because they might unpick the constitution for reasons we don't have to go into now. I just don't buy that. Secondly,
I'm sorry. Well, go on, and then I'll come back at you.
yeah. Secondly, I think that the linguistic currency of political debate in this country has been besmirched over the last 2 or 3 decades, and I really don't want to soil my mind with it.
Degraded completely. Yeah.
And thirdly, is because as someone who counts themselves as being a conservative by disposition, I think I have the right to ignore what's going on and get on with better things like reading books, doing a bit of writing, and keeping the flat clean.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. But you acknowledge that Blair did everything within his power to change the whole structure of our society and the state in order to make it less possible, let's say, for a conservative government to go back in again.
Yeah.
So why would Keir Starmer not do the same?
Sorry, when have we had a conservative government?
Last one was Thatcher, wasn't it?
Yes, I think you have to go back that far. I mean, just because something calls itself Tory doesn't make it conservative, does it? I mean, I think
that's not what we're talking about, though. What Peter Hitchens is talking about, what he speaks to, is that the Labour government under Starmer is going to do every dirty underhand trick to make sure that they reign supreme for many, many years.
yes, that's certainly his intention, and it's not an intention that he's hiding, from what I can work out.
So you acknowledge that on the one hand. On the other hand, you say, well, there's no really real discernible difference between the Tory party and Labour Party.
No, I think what I said was I wasn't sure how much of a difference it would make. And
let me just put this to you, Sean. The Conservative Party is not courting votes from political Islam.
This is true. Yes. Okay. And where do we go with that observation?
Well, I think that, well, to me, that's the biggest threat that is posed to us in this country, far, far, far above others.
Yes. Okay. But I don't see that the threat would be significantly less under a Sunak administration.
Well,
I think that's the trajectory we're on anyway.
Yes, that's true.
I'm not. You and I have little platforms from which we can speak out against this. So I suppose we
speak for yourself. I have a large platform.
Well, yes, I was trying to nail my colours to your vast mast. In an act of horrible self-aggrandizement there, James. Sorry. I think for me, all roads lead back to the lockdown in 2020, and I think any faith I had in the political discourse
Yes.
of modern times evaporated at that point.
Well, I felt completely the same apathy towards politics until, that is, Nigel Farage, then put his hat in the ring again and stood as the leader of reform. I mean, that, it's just generated so much excitement. And why I'm so excited is because it's not just, sort of blimpish colonel types who are voting for him now. It's young men, 16-year-old young men who want to vote for him. So good luck with lowering the voting age, Kit.
Yeah, we've discussed this, haven't we? And
yes.
it is interesting. It's. I think I said to you that it could be this could be Starmer's equivalent of Dr. Frankenstein and his monster.
Yeah.
And maybe he's going to end up ruining the monster he's created.
Well, because
I think that's a fair point.
What we were discussing the other day, Sean, was that, young men, especially young men, whatever the orthodoxy or authority of the day is, they will, they'll rise against it. That's just in young men's nature. They despise authority. They do everything they can to what should I say? Anyway, basically anything they can to go against it, whether it's tongue in cheek or not. They want to push the boundaries as far as they can, and they see that Farage for them is doing that. And they've discovered him through TikTok. They love him. He's like your eccentric uncle. And it's the same pattern that we're seeing throughout other European countries, like Germany lowered the voting age to 16, and many 16-year-olds voted for the AfD.
Possibly in part, but as an objection to being forced to take part in the political circus.
Mm.
Because politicians think that 16-year-olds are going to be engaged by politics. Well, maybe nerds like Starmer were, but I live with a 14-year-old young man, and I don't know who he is, but he just happens to live in. But trust me, he's not far off 16, and in order to vote at 16, presumably you have to start thinking about politics when you're my son's age.
Is he in any way
interested?
He's not interested.
Although he does know who Farage is because of the genius M&M thing.
Oh God, wasn't that brilliant? Don't you think that, though, Sean, the other factor to consider is that young men of your son's age are sick to death of being told by these middle-class moralizing women, many of whom are their teachers, that there's something toxic about being a male, about their masculinity. I mean, your son's very masculine. He does like kickboxing or boxing, does he not?
Boxing, yeah. Yeah, he does. And I took out a certain amount of insurance when it came to his education by making sure he went to a Catholic college.
Right.
So the indoctrination is there, but it's indoctrination of the sort I approve in the main. And his school has not been infected too badly by the cancer of wokeism.
Yeah. Well, as we say, we have rebranded this podcast, if we can call it such, as abstract failure. So Angela Rayner, I think when Angela Rayner said that, actually, it was more a considered line than we think. I mean, Angela Rayner is, she's playing a very cunning and canny game, almost like Columbo. She wants people to think. She wants people to think that she's thick, when really, she's deep down, she's supremely thick.
Yes, yeah. She wants people to think that she's stupid, but in a brilliant act of political genius, she is in fact very stupid.
Quite.
Yeah, it seems to be working, doesn't it? I mean, she has some attributes which I admire, but those attributes of hers which I admire are not necessarily reducible to her politics. If I can put it in elliptical fashion like that.
Well, this is the thing, Sean. I mean, most political podcasts, not that we're that much political, but, when people go onto the YouTube to see political podcasts, it's all very shallow and hollow commentary, whereas we dig deep down into what's really going on.
can I just say something more about Angela Rayner? And
Well, I was about to, but you can go on.
What I'll make it brief. Why I've got a sneaking regard for her is that political types who want to sleep with political women tend to have to do the tedious reading. They have to read their Marcuse and their Derrida and their Marx in order to impress them. Whereas at least with Angela Rayner, you can short circuit all that and just go straight to the how about it then, love. Because there's absolutely no way she's read any of those people.
What would Angela Rayner make of deconstructivism?
Well, if she think it was
K's being clear on this, right? We don't need we need less deconstruction and more construction. And I think that's what that Derrida bloke was going on about.
Yeah, we've had 14 years of deconstruction. And where's it got us? I promise reconstruction. Yes.
Oh.
Well, anyway, she's bequeathed us the name of our podcast, so we ought to be.
So for that, we
do you think she'd come on, James? Do you think we could get her on as a guest? It's not like she's busy or anything, is it?
Well, I think so. I mean, let's appeal to her vanity. What I was going to say was that although I'm mostly a flamboyant homosexual, as you know, but I do occasionally screw women. And I was thinking, you know, out of all the members of Parliament, which woman would I screw? And I think Angela Rayner's up there.
Yeah, I'm.
Do you think this would entice her to come on? And you said,
I think you've gone about it completely the wrong way if that's your tactic. I think your tactic has to be to exaggerate the major part of your psyche, which of course is the flamboyant bender bit, and you might have to wear a lanyard. Are you prepared to wear a lanyard?
One of those lurid coloured rainbow ones.
Yeah.
Oh God.
In order to sort of seal the deal with her, I think you'd be in lanyard territory there. But well, why get her on when we can just do impersonations of her? I mean, I think we should draw up a list of people that we're just not going to invite on.
It's abstract failure.
It's abstract failure, absolutely. No, I don't want her on.
No, we actually were meant to have a guest on for our inaugural rebranding of the podcast, but they thought it better to throw themselves headlong from a tall bridge, apparently. So we've not got the guest on.
Oh, okay. There seems to be a theme developing.
Yes, there is one. I mean, next week we have Simon Evans on from his own volition, by the way. Not
for the second time.
Yes, yeah.
Because he was with us on a previous iteration.
Not under duress in any way.
No.
Oh, by the way, Sean, I've just realised we've not fed him, have we? We need to throw some meat down in that torture dungeon of ours.
I'll get on that as soon as we've finished.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll wear the hat this time.
Well, yeah, this thing. So a few weeks ago, when Simon Evans invited me to this GB News comic event, very good, very, very good.
Is that the one where he left you off the guest list?
Well, this is the thing. He said that he put my name down, and I went there. My name wasn't there, and Mark Dolan had to get me in. But no, it was a very good event, and then I went to dinner with Simon and Josh Howie, and oh God, who's the other comedian? I forget his name now because I forget his name now. Anyway,
it was Paul Cox, wasn't it?
That was it. Yes, very, very nice man. As is Josh Howie. That was the first time I met him. Josh Howie's a lovely bloke. We
should get Josh on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'd have to make sure that he doesn't listen to this. This.
We've said nice things about Josh.
It's pouring of venom and bigotry. So yes, on the election, do we have anything else to say about it? I mean, there was some sort of prediction yesterday that Reform would gain 7 seats. I don't see that happening, really.
No, I mean, I know we were joking about it earlier, but it's not that I've been completely disengaged from what's going on. It would be cheeky of me because I've been writing about it. I, 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 I suspect Farage probably will win in Clacton.
Yeah.
Possibly Anderson. Where's Anderson standing? It's his
Lee
current
Anderson.
seat. Lee Anderson.
I think it's oh God, Ashdale, Ashfield, or something like that.
Never underestimate the power of name recognition. Farage is, Farage is becoming a cult phenomenon, isn't he? Provided he doesn't spend that capital before July the 4th. In some act of spectacular self-immolation, then I suspect he'll probably get elected. And I don't see him screwing up. I thought it was interesting, by the way, that you said what was he said about he changed his mind and stood to be leader of Reform. I think he just announced that he was leader, didn't he? Didn't he just get up on?
Well, according to Richard Tice had been forget the word way he put it. Lobbying. I don't know. Begging, probably. According to Richard Tice, if you believe him, he was begging for Farage to take over for months before he did. So who knows? I mean, Richard Tice, when he's in interviews, he's very, very competent. But he just doesn't have the star power of Farage. Farage has the same star power as someone like David Starkey or something. It's just like, even if you disagree with him, you just so want to be in his company.
I wouldn't pick Starkey as an example. I understand the phenomenon you're referring to, but I'd run a mile from Starkey's company. He was very nasty about my late friend Roger Scruton, for a start.
Was he really?
Whose boots he is not fit to shine. Putting pettiness to one side, I take your point. I mean, I think Farage is a once in a generation politician when it comes to being gifted. But I didn't realise it was going
to go. Okay, all right. I'm recording now. Right, so this is cancel corner, is it not? So who do we not wish to have on our show?
You go first.
Me? Well, I wouldn't delight in the prospect of Jeremy Vine appearing on it.
Good one. Yeah. Would you care to announce any reasons for that? We need specificity.
If I were to expand on my reasons for not wanting Jeremy Vine on, then I think we'd need a legal team, which we don't have.
Okay. Can you put it in even elliptical form? Is it just
he wears lycra, for hell's sake.
Yes, but he's thin. He can get away with that.
Really?
Well, yeah, you make an interesting point. He is of a certain age, isn't he?
Anyway, let's go on to one of yours then. Who would you?
No, I just want to explore this one a bit further, and then we'll go on to one of mine. I mean, I agree with you. I can imagine nothing worse than him turning up at our virtual studio, lycra'd up, having chained his £3,000 bike up outside, just to lord it over us that he can afford one.
Well, I think
he's out. I agree with you. I concur. Vine is out.
Yeah, he's Vine's definitely out. Although
get his brother, I don't mind his brother.
Well, I don't know who he is, but I know that for a fact that Vine, despite me being one of the most prominent, I could say famous, homosexuals in London, Vine is far more effeminate than me.
I didn't, until you said that, I didn't get that. And I think you're doing yourself down anyway there a bit, James. You're not one of the most famous homosexuals in London. And, I'm going to include the whole of the ULEZ zone for this. You are sui generis. You're one of a kind. You are the most prominent
Yeah,
homosexual
yeah.
in the
You're
whole
right.
of the
Quite
US
right.
area.
Yes.
I mean, which at the moment goes into Kent. I mean, you're even prominent in Kent. And yeah, he's not more effeminate than you, but there's only a smidgen in it, I would suggest.
I feel
So
that we are. I feel that we are on the brink of falling out, Sean. When you say that,
in what way? You think you're far more effeminate?
no, completely the reverse. Come on, Sean.
Oh, you think you're a kind of village people type?
Yes, yeah. I'm completely the image, absolutely image of masculinity.
Are you Freddie Mercury, "Don't Stop Me Now" level masculine, or
Yes.
Freddie Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody, Pink's? Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll give you that. I mean, I think we've discussed off air that I take a certain view about moustaches, but putting that to one side,
there's a vainness in them.
well, it's a kind of look at me. I could be bothered to shave, but not that bothered to shave. It's a kind of arrogance going on there, I think. Also, they look like shit. Anyway, I'll give you my first cancel nominee, and I'm afraid we're going to remain in the horrible, insipid cesspit of media, but it's got to be Hartley Brewer.
Why is that?
Well, because we wouldn't get a word in edgeways. We'd have to hear about her husband and daughter and her latest holiday. And possibly because I'll speak for myself, obviously, the same thing doesn't apply to you. I was so far down the journalistic chain that she would have me making the teas and generally bossing me about. Because I know for a fact a good friend of mine has seen it.
Well, I've seen it too. I know.
That she reduces what she regards as lackeys to tears.
Yeah,
and I don't like prima donnas like that.
No.
And the fact that she used to do that sort of job herself makes it worse.
Yeah.
Plus, I think she's thick. I think she's a bit thick as well. But we can't have anyone
Really?
who's thick.
I don't think she's thick. Anyway, so mine would be, of course, and he won't mind me saying this, Andre Walker.
Okay.
He cancelled me from his show when I was I was the main draw of it, really, as we all know.
The discerning listener will notice a certain change in your tone of voice there. Now it's become personal. Carry on.
Yes, I mean, well, I don't want to go too into details. I don't want to make it too salacious.
Yes, you do.
Well, we all know that of the two of us, between me and Andre, I was the real talent. We all know that. Do we not?
So, yes, but I feel when it comes to cancel corner, I need to be a bit impartial and interrogate your nominations. So, what do you think happened then? Do you think he, in some, I don't know, Machiavellian sense, had you cancelled from the show, or because I saw you on the show, I saw you on the show, and you were pretty good.
Well, I completely. That was it. Sorry. Anyway, so I think Andre is very very clear of the fact that my performances on his show far outstripped his.
Yes, I mean, can you remind the listeners about the nature and content of the show and what sort of guests he had? Because not everyone's seen it.
Well,
either you will or I will. Let's put it like that.
You can say it how you think it. I'm saying nothing.
Well, I think I'm right in saying that the show is still extant, despite your absence from it, and it is called That Was the Woke That Was. Am I correct so far?
Mm.
And I think on a good night, probably the title of the show is the funniest bit.
I mean, my clips get far, far, far more views than Andre's do.
Envy.
And Andre.
Yeah, he's envious.
The other thing you need to know about Andre is one, he's he's northern. He's from the north.
Well, so am I.
Yes, but he sort of capitalizes on the accent there. Like
Oh,
Cheryl,
he does a bit.
like
Yeah.
Cheryl Cole.
They don't all speak like that in Windsor. No.
No. And of course he was jealous of my talent. So why wouldn't he be?
Yeah. Well, he's only human.
That's why he's not going on here. Who else do we have? It's your turn.
It is my turn, and I'm going to go back to someone we mentioned in the first bit, and that is I will not share a podcast with Starkey.
Really?
So if you invite Starkey on and he accepts, I guess I'm fired. Although you can't fire me because we are like Jesse Pinkman and Walter White.
Yeah.
In that we are partners at this stage of our relationship. So we would have to have a frank discussion.
What do we think of Mr. Murray?
Well, I'm afraid he's intellectual kryptonite to me. I think he's. I'll be serious for a moment about Douglas Murray, and I'll say two things about him. No, I'll say one thing about him because I don't want to say the other thing thinking about it. I think he's very good at skipping across the surface of things without actually taking a deeper dive. Intellectually, I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'll have to declare a best.
He did invite me to his Manhattan apartment at one time.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he had an apartment in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing well for himself then, isn't he? Right. I have to declare a bit of an interest there in that I got bumped for doing an article on Roger Scruton when Scruton died.
Oh yes, I remember.
In favour of Douglas Murray, who wouldn't, who would not have been able to engage properly with Scruton's.
Well, the thing about Douglas Murray is, well, first of all, I actually do think he's a very decent man, because there was this problem. I won't go into it. There was some sort of problem that was occurring that was vaguely, vaguely he was involved in. And so he said, within 2 minutes, just call me, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, no, he's a very decent chap.
Okay, fair enough. And he was very good with Scruton and to Scruton when.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Scruton was thrown under the bus by the New Statesman in what was the most egregious example of alleged journalism I've seen in the last decade. So he was, okay. His loyalty goes a long way with me, so I'll give him that.
I mean, the thing is, with when it was during the lockdown years, of course, Pete Hitchens, writing for the Mail on Sunday, I think, he was against it from the start, or lockdown.
He wasn't.
Yeah, well,
he wasn't against it from the start. That's a bit of revisionism, mainly executed by Peter Hitchens.
Well, let's just say that he was, or whatever. And he was.
Well, we can say he was, but he wasn't. Sorry, James.
Fine, Sean. I'm just trying to make the point. Anyway, Pete Hitchens was constantly castigating Douglas Murray because that was a huge following of not speaking out against lockdown measures. And thing is, which I said, one of the private. I don't think he'll mind me saying this. One of the private messages I sent to Douglas was that, the thing is, Pete Hitchens gets paid to be controversial, whereas you don't. And that's the thing, really. These what do you call them? I forget the name of them now. These editors that find writers and know who they are and what their shtick is, and tell them what articles to write. They didn't want Douglas to write about this stuff, and so it's just the name of the game.
Okay, fair enough. I think Murray was disappointing on lockdown, personally.
He was, of course, he was.
But the test for me would be whether he tries to rewrite his history during that episode, because a lot of people have done. I don't know. I'm not saying he has, because I don't know
He's
whether
not.
he has or not.
No, he's not. No.
Okay, well, fair enough then. But I mean, I made the point about Hitchens, and I could tell I was irritating you, which I didn't mean to do. What I meant to say
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
was, and there's a deeper thing in play here, is that Hitchens' response to lockdown was, even if we concede that he was against it from the start, which I don't concede, but let's concede that point. It was disappointing because he did the whole cost-benefit analysis thing of lockdown. That locking down the economy would cause all these things further down the line.
Whereas you thought it was more of a moral thing.
I thought it was intrinsically wrong. I didn't take the utilitarian approach. I mean, I could be persuaded that even if it saved 100,000 lives, it was wrong to tell people to stay in their homes in this country, rather than let them decide for themselves. Because what the government did was it basically confiscated people's ability to judge risk for themselves, and that's a very nasty thing to do to people whom you are elected to serve, not the other way around. So that was my problem with Hitchens. Rather than perceived tardiness when it came to the lockdown skeptic cause, it was that I think he was analysing the situation in slightly the wrong way. But that's not a hanging offence, is it? I mean, I like Hitchens overall. I like the kind of phlegmatic, I will never laugh exterior, and he's very good on Twitter, engaging with people who like me, that he's never heard of. I mean, he's fairly Catholic in his response to criticism.
You had about 5 arguments with him on Twitter, have you not?
Yeah, I kind of backed away from it because I found myself. I decided I was acting out of pride. Peter Hitchens is replying to me, therefore I'll carry on the argument, and that's not really the way to be, is it? But yeah, Murray, okay, you sold him to me.
Honestly, Douglas Murray is a decent chap.
Okay.
Anyway, Sean, I think we've got to go now. I mean, there's some cool boys that I'm going to sniff some of the white powder from, and so yeah.
Well, my evening is going to consist of drinking tea, and I think we're having fish and chips for tea tonight. So there you go. It doesn't get more exciting than that. That's the devices scene, man.